How can the Packers offense get on track against the Eagles tomorrow night? He well admits that it just hasn't been so far this season.
Right. Well, the thing that Aaron and the offense, one of the problems is you don't want to overreact, because the number one stat is, can the quarterback get his team on the winning bus? Can they win games? And they've been able to do it. Now, it's totally different than the style that they're used to, but Aaron Rodgers is going to have to ask himself the question: is it more important for me to win, or is it more important for me to win with style points? Because if you look at Tom Brady and what they do in New England, regardless of what kind of game plan Josh McDaniel and Belichick come up with on a Monday, Brady totally buys into it. And that might mean we're going to run the ball 50 times. We're going to play 2 tight ends, a fullback. We're going to play 4 receivers. Brady is the absolute best at that, because he's absent of ego, realizing that it's so important for him to buy in. Can Aaron continue with this defense? Preston, Zadarius Smith, these guys getting to the quarterback, turning the ball over. Like, they are benefiting from all the money that they've spent in free agency this past offseason and their draft the last couple years. But Aaron's got to ask himself, is this okay? I do believe that the offense will gain some continuity as they go through the season. But you're not going to put up a whole bunch of numbers on the Vikings and on the Bears, so I'm not going to overreact. But I look for them to be able to get on track. Aaron did miss some time during training camp, so there is time for this offense to get on track. An injured Philadelphia team coming in on a short week in Lambeau, huge advantage for the home team. I wouldn't be surprised if Thursday night you started to see Aaron start to throw for 275 to 300, and that offense be close to 400 yards.
And I want the audience to know, if they haven't been watching the Packers closely, it's not as if the offense has been going great. It's just been relying on the running game. So the offense scoring a lot of points, converting third downs, yet Rodgers' numbers aren't there. The offense as a whole has been bad. It's been a bottom 5 offense. They're 29th on third down. They're 27th passing the ball. They're 24th running the football. They're 23rd on points scored and 26th in points per drive. So the offense as a whole, by any metric, has been bad. The one stat the offense has been good on, to Chris's point, is the offense is 3-0 because the team is 3-0. The number one thing they can do right now is improve on third downs. Give themselves a better chance to stay on the field. 9 third down conversions on the season on 36 possible attempts. That's going to be bad no matter who your quarterback is, much less your quarterback as talented as Aaron Rodgers. What I think is hurting them, and what won't be fixed this Thursday, even if they win Thursday, and I think they will, is who is their third receiver. We know Davante Adams is one of the most underrated receivers in the league, and Marquez Valdes-Scantling, the young receiver, has come into his own a bit this year. Cris, there's not another receiver on the team, not running back, not tight end, not another receiver on the team that has 30 yards this season. So if you're a defense, you're saying, let's take away Davante, see if Valdes-Scantling can beat us, and if he can't, it's tight ends and running backs. They need to have a more diversity of weapons available to Rodgers. I think that will help the third downs. That will help the offense get going. Not to mention, right now, Aaron Jones on a per-touch basis, even though we said last year and the year before maybe he should get more touches, he's been less effective despite being more featured the first couple weeks. They went to Williams more last week because of Aaron Jones' ineffectiveness. So the offense as a whole is really stalling, running game, receiving, and quarterback play.
It might be too early to ask, but it is still worth the ask. At some point, do you see Aaron Rodgers go off the LaFleur script and say, let me try to maybe juice up our numbers by doing things on my own, the Aaron Rodgers way? Because we spent all off season talking about him buying into the system that LaFleur was bringing out, whether it was going to work or not. So far, the defense has really helped him do that. When do we see him kind of play his own game?
Yeah, it's a legitimate concern. When you have Aaron Rodgers and you talk about some of the things he's been through before and him disagreeing with coaching decisions before, I don't think it's necessarily just disagree, just total disobedient. But what I think is he'll start to hold the ball a little bit longer and start to wait for guys to get open and try to make plays with his legs. If he begins to press, that's what I see him doing. I don't see him trying to go back to their old audible system, trying to do a no-huddle, things like that. But even guys like Aaron Rodgers, if he doesn't have success with this new coach, with the new system that they're running, I wouldn't be surprised to see Aaron Rodgers do what he does. What do? Scramble to the right, ad-lib, direct traffic, make some deep throws down the field. So I will be watching that. But Aaron should be so satisfied at this point in his career, just like John Elway, after having all that success, taking Denver to Super Bowl after Super Bowl, and not being able to get over the hump. They added a running game and defense. That's how John won those last 2 Super Bowls. Aaron, that wouldn't be a bad model, and we would know late in games, then you give Aaron Rodgers a couple chance. That, to me, is the best Green Bay team moving forward.
And I want to see what they look like, which they will at some point, might be as early as Thursday, when they're not playing from ahead. They were down 3-0 against Chicago in that first quarter. And then Rodgers had the one big play in that game. Thursday Night Football, the deep play downfield. That's the last time they trailed. They have trailed for less than 7 total minutes all season in 180 minutes of football. So I think it's easier to play conservative, stick with the coach's plan when you're always ahead. Because the defense has been so great, because they're not turning the ball over, something Rodgers, even in a down year last year, what do you have, 25 touchdowns, 2 picks? He's been great at taking care of the football, throwing it away instead of throwing it in traffic. He's not incentivized to take big chances.
Right.
They're playing with a lead. They're in control. If they do get down 14-3 in one of these games, which of course they will, every team does, how do they respond there? That's something I'm really interested in, but it's one of those good problems because they haven't had that problem yet.
Matt LaFleur said when asked about the stalled offense, don't worry, there's more out there. How much of this do you put on him and generating more plays and more options for that offense?
Well, I do put a lot on him, especially the third down. I want to see him be a little more creative on third down. Nick talks about a lack of having a third receiver. Jimmy Graham hadn't been healthy, still missing some practice time. So will he be at 100%? But your creativity. We can't blame everything on Tennessee, okay? Because they've been like, oh, I'm going to run the Tennessee offense. Okay, but you have Aaron Rodgers. I am dependent on some creativity, and that should be in the red zone. You should see that from the new young coach. And on third down, you should see some creativity. And that's his responsibility to Aaron Rodgers and that football team to boost up that third down percentage so they can keep those drives going. Because the longer Aaron stays on the field, the more reps he gets in this offense, the more fear he's going to put in NFL defense.
But the reason why Aaron Rodgers, while calculated with his remarks, is clearly not panicking and seems to be in a good overall mental state is when you saw they had Chicago and Minnesota in the first 2 games of the year, and if we'd have told you 3 weeks in, only the Titans, Bears, Dolphins, Vikings, and Jets would have fewer yards passing. You have that schedule, you've been that ineffective passing the ball, and you're 3-0 with an opportunity to go 4-0 with a home game against a injured Philly team, he'd be flying. So you will deal with this because you're winning, as opposed to in years past where Rodgers leading the league in passer rating, top 3 in touchdowns, and the team's 2-1 or 1-2 wondering what is going wrong. So right now they have a little margin of error to figure it out.
All right, Packers and Eagles, Thursday Night Football. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.